With the new season just around the corner and those long-awaited European nights already knocking at the door, Rangers are wasting absolutely no time in getting their house in order. Russell Martin knows exactly what's at stake. The expectations are sky high, both in the domestic scene and on the European stage. And that means one thing: reinforcements, quality timing, and mindset. And as it turns out, the Ibrox side might just be on the verge of pulling off a very smart bit of business. According to none other than Fabrizio Romano, one of the most reliable voices when it comes to transfer news, Rangers are closing in on a loan deal for Tottenham's rising star Mikey Moore. This isn't just any youth prospect. Moore is considered one of the top young attacking talents coming through at Spurs, and he's now set to bring his energy and creativity to the Scottish Premiership. The deal, as reported, is a straight loan until June 2026. No buy option, no obligation, just a pure development opportunity. But here's the kicker: Tottenham will be covering his salary in full. That's a win-win for both clubs, and a move that shows Rangers are being smart and surgical in the market. Moore is believed to be excited about a move. From his side, it's a chance to get regular first-team football, experience a different footballing culture, and be part of a squad that's hungry for silverware and ready to challenge on all fronts. From Rangers' side, it's a chance to inject youth pace and unpredictability into the squad. Exactly what Martin has been pushing for. If all goes according to plan, Moore could be wearing the famous blue shirt within days, just in time for one of the most intense periods of the season. And intense is no exaggeration. Rangers are heading into a massive European tie in Athens, carrying a valuable 2-goal advantage into the second leg of their Champions League second qualifying round against Panathinaikos. But Martin isn't interested in playing it safe. In his own words, "At this club, you have to try to win every game." That has to be the mentality. It's a bold statement, but it perfectly captures what the fans want to hear. No fear, no sitting back. Just full throttle Rangers football home. Or away. But while things are looking up on the attacking front, there are still a few bumps in the road. Two of the club's recent signings, Asgard and Hamza Igamani, haven't traveled with the squad to Greece. Their absence raises questions not just for the European clash, but also for the league opener this weekend against Motherwell. And with the games coming thick and fast, Martin knows he needs options. Depth will be everything. That's where the addition of someone like Mikey Moore becomes even more crucial. He's not just a stopgap. He's a genuine attacking weapon. A player who can come off the bench and change the game, or maybe even push for a starting spot depending on how quickly he settles. He's got the pace, the technique, and the football IQ to thrive in a system like Martin's. And make no mistake, the Rangers boss has had his eye on Moore for a while. Back when he was at Southampton, Martin tried to bring the youngster in, but the timing wasn't right. Now the stars might finally be aligning. Speaking earlier this week, Martin was careful not to give too much away, but his admiration for Moore was clear. "Oh, he's a player I like, and I think he's a player the recruitment staff like," he said. But how far that's gone, I'm not too sure. Classic manager speak, but when you read between the lines, it's obvious he's excited. And with Romano now confirming the deal is close, all signs point to a breakthrough in the coming days. But it's not all good news on the transfer front. Rangers appear to have hit a roadblock in their pursuit of Crystal Palace's Jazir Raki. The talented England youth international was on the club's radar for a loan deal, possibly with a future buy clause. But Palace boss Oliver Glasner has poured cold water on those hopes, stating bluntly that his squad is already too thin to let anyone leave. Unless, of course, the club brings in fresh faces fast. That puts a pause on any Raki move, at least for now. And to make matters worse, the player recently limped off in a friendly against Crawley Town, and the extent of his injury still isn't clear. Timing could not be worse. Glasner didn't mince words when asked about the situation. In a recent interview, he admitted that Palace haven't made the most of the current transfer window. Promises were made, but not kept, and now the coach is dealing with a stretched squad. "I have 17 outfield players," he said. "If we don't act fast and more players leave, we're in danger of another false start." It's clear he's frustrated. And if Palace don't move quickly, Rangers might have to look elsewhere. That said, Russell Martin doesn't seem rattled. He knows the nature of the transfer game. You go after 10 players and maybe 3 come through. But it's about getting the right ones. We look at all sorts of different profiles, he said. It doesn't have to be just one type. What matters most is mentality. Players who are desperate to come and play here. And that brings us right back to Mikey Moore. Because if there's one thing the teenager doesn't lack, it's desire. As the clock ticks down to Saturday's Premiership opener at Fir Park, all eyes are on Ibrox. The fans are buzzing. The fixture list is relentless. The margins for error are razor thin. But this is what you live for as a Rangers supporter. A team fighting on multiple fronts, looking to make a statement both at home and in Europe. And while the focus is rightly on bringing players in, there's also work being done on the other end, trimming the squad and making room for new faces. One player already on the way out is Jose Cifuentes. The Ecuadorian midfielder has been told that he has no future at the club and Rangers will not entertain another loan deal for him. Several clubs have expressed interest, including sides from Brazil and the United States, but the message from Ibrox is clear: only a permanent deal will be considered. Cifuentes still has 2 years left on his contract after arriving with high expectations under the previous manager, but the move simply hasn't worked out, and now the club wants to cut their losses. Reports from Brazil suggested that Sport Recife were in talks over a loan, but sources close to the club have denied that. The priority is to free up space and wages for players who fit Martin's new vision for the squad. And it's not just Cifuentes. Ross McCausland is also heading out, agreeing to a loan move to AEL Limassol in Cyprus, where he'll be reunited with former teammates Connor Goldson and Leon Balogun. Meanwhile, Robin van Persie has returned to FC Twente, and Rangers are expected to listen to offers for the likes of Ben Davies and Matondo before the window closes. The squad overhaul is in full swing, and the goal is clear: build a team that reflects Martin's style and ambition. High tempo, technical quality, and above all a winning mentality. Moore, if he arrives, could be the spark that sets the tone for the season ahead. A fresh face with something to prove, stepping into a club with massive expectations and a hungry fan base. And it's not just the club watching closely. Spurs boss Thomas Frank has also spoken about Moore's potential, saying he's really excited about the youngster's future and fully supports a loan move to help him grow. Our players, especially young ones, need consistent first-team minutes, he said. If we can find the right opportunity, we'll take it. It seems both clubs are aligned and Rangers are perfectly positioned to benefit. The next few days could be crucial. If the paperwork gets done and the green light comes from London, Mikey Moore could be stepping out at Ibrox sooner rather than later. And with everything that's at stake, from league titles to Champions League dreams, the timing couldn't be better. While the Rangers continue to push hard for new signings, the reality behind the scenes is just as important. Cleaning house and giving Russell Martin the tools, flexibility, and clarity he needs to build a squad truly in his image. The departure list is growing, and it's not just about freeing up wages. It's about sending a message. If you're not part of the long-term plan, if you're not fully bought into the culture, then your time at Ibrox is up. That brings us straight back to Jose Cifuentes, a player who arrived with real expectations, hailed as the midfield engine that could elevate the team to another level. He came from Los Angeles FC with solid experience and plenty of hype. A box-to-box profile, physical dynamic, someone who had shown in Major League Soccer. Michael Beale was convinced. He backed the signing and handed him a long-term deal. But here's the harsh truth: it simply hasn't worked. Whether it was the tactical fit, the tempo of Scottish football, or just the wrong move at the wrong time, Cifuentes never managed to assert himself. And now Rangers are done waiting. The club has made it clear. They won't waste time on another loan hoping he suddenly clicks somewhere else and then maybe returns as a different player. The door's open, but only for a permanent transfer. There have been contacts from clubs across Europe and South America. Brazilian reports claimed a potential loan move to Sport Recife, but those close to the deal have shut that down. Rangers want out, fully cleanly, and are in no mood to repeat the mistakes of the past by keeping players around who won't contribute meaningfully this season. What this all signals is a new kind of discipline at the club, one where sentiment doesn't outweigh performance and where every spot in the squad has to be earned. Russell Martin is building something here, and there's no space for passengers. He's not just looking for talent, he's looking for mentality, for hunger, for commitment. And that brings us back to the profile of someone like Mikey Moore. Moore represents everything Martin seems to value. Young, technical, with a point to prove. He's not coming to Rangers for a vacation or to pad out the bench. He's coming to compete, to develop, to impact matches, and the fact that Tottenham are willing to send him on loan with no buy clause shows how highly they rate him. They believe Rangers is the right environment for him to take the next step, and they trust Martin to handle that development with care. But Moore isn't the only one linked. The Rangers board knows that depth across multiple positions is key if they want to balance domestic duties with the grind of European qualifiers. Injuries are already taking a toll, and the last thing the club needs is to start the season chasing fitness and scrambling for options. That's why the recruitment staff have widened the net. They're looking not just for big names, but for players who fit the system, tactically and mentally. Russell Martin's comments in interviews lately have made that crystal clear. He's been measured cautious, not to overpromise, but also honest about the demands. We'll be linked with a lot of players, he said. Some will be wide of the mark, some very close. But what matters is mentality. We need players desperate to come and play here. That's not coach speak. That's a mission statement. And it speaks volumes about where Rangers are trying to go. There's also a real effort underway to give younger players proper pathways. The loan of Ross McCausland to AEL Limassol is a great example of that. Rather than keeping him on the fringes, Rangers are giving him minutes, responsibility, and the chance to grow in a different setting. One where he'll be tested and where he'll have to fight for every opportunity. The same is true of other outgoings like Robin van Persie's move to FC Twente, which helps balance the books while giving the player a soft landing. But even with those exits, the market remains wide open. Rangers are still listening to offers. For Ben Davies and Rabbi Matondo, both of whom have struggled to find consistent form in the last 12 months. Davies in particular arrived with decent pedigree and was expected to bring leadership and composure at the back. But injuries and a lack of rhythm have held him back, and now with fresh competition in defense, his place in the pecking order is under threat. Matondo's situation is slightly different. Electrifying on his day, no doubt, but those days have been too few and far between. He's had spells of brilliance, but hasn't yet shown that he can be a reliable week in, week out contributor. At the top level, with the arrival of new forwards and more pace out wide, his future is uncertain. The club won't push him out the door, but they're open to offers. And if the right bid comes in, he could be on the move before the window shuts. All of this points to a very deliberate strategic rebuild. One that's not based on panic buys or short-term solutions, but on long-term planning. Russell Martin is trying to mold a team that's sustainable. One that can win now, but also grow together over the next few years. It's no coincidence that many of the targets are in their early 20s. No coincidence that the club is prioritizing loan deals with development in mind. The idea is simple: build value, build cohesion, build a winning culture. And it's not just lip service. You can see it in the way the team is playing. There's already a more defined identity forming, a commitment to possession, to aggressive pressing, to dominating matches rather than reacting. The performance against Panathinaikos in the first leg was a perfect snapshot of that. Calm under pressure, clinical in the final third, and with a real sense of control. Martin's ideas are taking root, and quickly. Now the second leg in Athens will be the true test. Protecting a 2-goal lead away from home in Europe is never easy, no matter who you're playing. The crowd will be hostile to tempo high, and Panathinaikos will throw everything they have to turn it around. But Martin has made it clear Rangers won't sit back. They won't bunker down. They're going to play their game, front foot assertive, and hunting for goals. It's risky, yes, but it's the kind of risk that champions embrace. And if they make it through, the path doesn't get any easier. Waiting in the wings are teams like Servette, Victoria Plzen, Shakhtar Donetsk, or Besiktas. All seasoned sides with European pedigree. The margins are razor thin at this level. One bad night can undo an entire campaign. That's why this recruitment window matters so much. Every signing, every departure, every tactical tweak could be the difference between making the group stage or missing out entirely. That's the reality of top-level football now, and Rangers are no strangers to it. The supporters know what's at stake. The directors know what's at stake. And Russell Martin certainly knows. That's why the next 2 weeks could define not just the season, but the trajectory of this entire project. Because let's be honest, this isn't just about finishing above Celtic. This isn't just about domestic bragging rights. Rangers want to be a European force again. They want to be back in the group stages of the Champions League. They want Ibrox rocking under the lights with the continent's best on the pitch. That's the vision. That's the dream. And for the first time in a while, there's a sense that the club is moving in that direction with real intent. Mikey Moore could be the first of several dominoes to fall. If the paperwork goes through and if he hits the ground running, it'll send a message to other young talents that Rangers is the place to grow. A place where you're trusted, developed, and thrown into real battles. That reputation matters. And in today's market, it can be the edge you need to land the next big name before your rivals do. So buckle up. The summer's not over yet. There are deals being worked on behind the scenes, agents making calls, scouts running final checks, and players making decisions that could shape the next 12 months or longer. For Russell Martin and his staff, it's a race against time. But it's also a race worth running, because if they get it right, if the pieces come together, this could be the start of something very, very exciting at Ibrox. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's been more than just the usual chatter around Ibrox this week. A curious buzz has started to echo through the streets of Gavin, in pubs and forums alike, and it's all swirling around one name, Jack Butland. The once untouchable number one has found himself in an unthinkable position, out of training, out of matchday squads, and some say out of favour. And the man in the middle of it all? None other than new Rangers gaffer, Russell Martin. Now let's be clear, nothing official has been said. No press release, no confirmed injury, no tactical reshuffling announced by the club. Butland, for all intents and purposes, appears fit and ready, yet his name has been conspicuously absent. It's the sort of silence that breeds speculation, and the Ibrox faithful aren't shy about voicing concern when their star man is left on the sidelines without explanation. Rumors began circulating earlier this month when eagle-eyed fans noticed Butland's reduced involvement in training sessions at Auchin Howie. What started as whispers about a possible knock or rest day quickly evolved into murmurs of something more significant when he was left out of the squad altogether for a key pre-season fixture, not even on the bench. The alarm bells truly started ringing. Is there a rift between Martin and Butland? It's far too early to say with any certainty, but those close to the club have hinted at differences in philosophy between the two. Martin, known for his meticulous, possession-heavy style during his time at Swansea and Southampton, reportedly prefers a goalkeeper with more aggression and distribution, a kind of modern sweeper-keeper role. While Butland's shot-stopping credentials are second to none, critics have occasionally pointed to his footwork as a potential weak link in such a system. Still, that feels a flimsy excuse to sideline one of the club's most consistent performers. Last season, Butland was nothing short of a revelation after arriving at Rangers. His commanding presence, reliable hands, and vocal leadership made him an instant fan favorite, arguably the most successful signing of a turbulent year. To see him dropped without a word has struck a nerve. Something doesn't add up, said one season ticket holder outside Ibrox on Sunday. You don't just bench a player like Butland without cause. If he was injured, we'd know. If it was tactical, the gaffer should say so. This cloak and dagger stuff only stokes the fire. Yeah, I'm afraid our fire in question is growing hotter by the day. Online fan forums are ablaze with theories, some suggesting a behind-the-scenes fallout, others pointing fingers at Martin's man management approach. While the new boss is still finding his feet in Glasgow, this handling, or mishandling, of a club talisman could prove a costly early misstep. Compounding matters is the lack of transparency. Martin, when questioned about squad selections, has been vague at best, citing internal evaluations and ongoing assessments without offering clarity. It's left supporters and pundits alike scratching their heads. And what of Butland? Himself? The England international has maintained a stony silence, save for a few cryptic Instagram posts. One showing his gloves on a bench with the caption, "Ready when needed," another with just the eyes emoji. Interpret that as you will, but the message seems to suggest a player not ready to throw in the towel just yet. Of course, it could all blow over in a fortnight. A minor tweak in form, a friendly misunderstanding, a rotational policy misunderstood by the public. All plausible explanations. But until Butland is seen back between the sticks, the questions will only grow louder. What makes the situation more precarious is Rangers' demanding early season schedule. The club is gearing up for a crucial Champions League qualifier, and Many fans expected BUTLAND to be a nailed-on starter for such a high-stakes fixture. The prospect of heading into that tie without him has only added to the anxiety. There's also the question of dressing room dynamics. BUTLAND isn't just a keeper, he's a leader, a presence in the dressing room, a voice of calm in the chaos. If there's tension behind closed doors, it could ripple through the squad. The last thing Martin needs in his debut season is to lose the dressing room over a misunderstood or misjudged decision. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time Martin's leadership style has raised eyebrows. During his tenure in the championship, he was praised for his tactical innovation, but occasionally criticized for favoritism and rigidity in selections. Could history be repeating itself at Rangers? Still, there's no doubting Martin's ambition. He's clearly got a vision, and he's not afraid to make bold moves to shape the team in his image. But in Glasgow, bold moves come with bold consequences, and leaving a player like Jack Butland out in the cold without explanation may be a gamble too far. Until the situation is resolved, the Butland saga remains just that, a saga, a rumor with legs, a whisper turning into a roar. All eyes will be on Martin's next press conference, and every training photo will be analyzed frame by fans desperate for a glimpse of their number one. For now, all we can do is watch. I'll wonder and wait as the strange silence around Jack Butland grows ever louder. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.